My name is Emma, and today I am going to tell you the real story of my friend Sarah. It's about her first real job hunt, a harsh lesson learned the hard way. Sarah was fresh out of college, bright-eyed, and buzzing with nervous energy. She dreamed of a marketing career, something creative and fast-paced. Every day, she'd scour job boards, sending out resumes like hopeful little messages. The rejections piled up, each one a tiny nick on her confidence. She felt adrift in a sea of polite, no thank you emails. Then, one rainy Tuesday morning, it seemed like the clouds parted just for her. A slick email landed in her inbox. The subject line blared, urgent, marketing assistant position, immediate start, competitive salary. Sarah's breath hitched. The sender? Global Synergy Marketing Solutions. It sounded important, global. The email gushed about her resume, claiming her potential shone exceptionally bright. The starting salary they quoted was way above the norm for a new graduate. A wave of pure, dizzying relief washed over Sarah. Finally, someone saw her. She called me immediately, her voice trembling with excitement. Emma. Oh my God, Emma. I think I got a job. A real job. The interview process, looking back, was full of red flags we both missed. It was entirely remote. Just emails and one short, slightly blurry video call. The HR manager, a woman named Brenda with a brisk, no-nonsense tone, did all the talking. She explained a role involved critical market research payments facilitation. It sounded complex, sophisticated. Sarah's main task: receive funds from clients via special checks. Then, swiftly transfer those funds to overseas vendors using a company portal they'd provide. Speed and confidentiality were paramount. A tiny, cold flicker of doubt touched Sarah's heart. Why her? Why so rushed? But the dazzling salary figure and the sheer relief of an offer drowned out that whisper. Desperation, that sneaky thief of judgment, clouded her vision completely. Brenda emailed Sarah an official employment contract. It looked the part, sleek letterhead, a fancy logo, dense legal-looking text. Sarah scanned it, her eyes locking onto that magical salary number again. She signed it electronically, her fingers trembling with excitement. Then came the first operational test. A courier delivered a check for $4,500 the very next day. Instructions followed. Deposit the check using her mobile banking app. Once the funds showed as available, she was to use $4,000 of it to purchase specific digital vouchers from an online vendor Brenda named. Email the voucher codes immediately. The leftover $500? Her first well-earned commission. Sarah felt a thrilling surge of professionalism. She was working. Sarah deposited the check. Her bank app updated quickly, showing the $4,500 as available. Trusting the system, she bought the vouchers exactly as instructed. She emailed the codes to Brenda, feeling a flush of accomplishment. Brenda responded swiftly. Excellent efficiency, Sarah. You're a natural. 2 days later, another courier arrived. This check was for $8,700. The process repeated. Deposit, buy more vouchers. This time, a different vendor Brenda specified. Send codes, keep a $700 commission. Sarah started making plans. Student loans? Gone. Maybe even a small apartment upgrade? Hope felt tangible. Then the world shattered. Sarah's phone rang. It was her bank. Her account was massively overdrawn. The checks? Sophisticated forgeries. The available funds? A temporary illusion. When the checks finally bounced days later, the bank clawed back every penny. The $4,500 check. Worthless paper. The $8,700 check. The same. The money Sarah had sent for those vouchers? That was her own hard-earned savings, now vanished into the digital ether. The $500 commission and the $700 commission? Just tiny crumbs of her own money tossed back to keep her compliant. She'd been paying herself with her own stolen cash. The devastation was physical. Sarah felt like she'd been punched. She collapsed onto her small apartment floor, waves of nausea, and shame crashing over her. Stupid, 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 she choked out to the empty room. She called me, her voice ragged, gasping sobs making her words almost unintelligible. I dropped everything and raced over. Finding her curled up, clutching the printed fake contract like a lifeline, broke my heart into pieces. She'd lost nearly $8,000, money she'd saved from part-time jobs throughout college.
Gone.
The Global Synergy website vanished overnight. Brenda's email bounced back. It was a ghost company designed solely to steal. Going to the police station felt like walking through molasses. The weight of her mistake was crushing. The officer, a kind-faced woman named Officer Ruiz, listened patiently. She took notes, her expression sympathetic but realistic. These operations, Officer Ruiz explained gently, they're often based overseas, layers deep. Recovery, it's very rare, honey. I'm so sorry. Sarah felt like a naive statistic, a cautionary tale. She called her mom, dreading the disappointment. Her mom, Linda, listened silently, then drove straight over.
She didn't yell.
She just wrapped Sarah in a fierce hug, her own voice thick. "Oh, my sweet girl," she whispered, stroking Sarah's hair. "They prey on hope, on that desperate need to succeed. This is their evil, not your fault." That unconditional love, that simple absolution, was the first fragile thread of healing. The financial hole was a chasm. Sarah took the first survival job she could find, waiting tables at the Busy Bee Diner, a noisy, greasy spoon place downtown. Her boss, Sal, was gruff but fair. Her coworkers became her unlikely lifeline. There was Carlos, the perpetually tired line cook with 2 kids, who'd slip her an extra pancake on bad days. And Tasha, a sharp-tongued but fiercely loyal server studying nursing at night, who'd cover Sarah's shifts when she had to meet with the bank about repayment plans. They became her after-work venting crew, sharing stories of their own struggles over lukewarm coffee. Sarah sold clothes online, everything that wasn't essential. She canceled subscriptions, learned to budget down to the dollar. Every tip, every sale, went towards the debt. It was exhausting, relentless, a constant, grinding reminder of her lapse in judgment. Slowly, a hard anger began to replace the despair. Anger at the faceless thieves who'd stolen her security and her hope. She spent evenings researching job scams, learning the red flags she'd blithely ignored. She found online forums full of similar stories, which was both depressing and weirdly comforting. She wasn't alone. She reached out to Maya, an old family friend who worked in corporate HR. Maya was horrified by Sarah's story. Over several long coffees, Maya became Sarah's unofficial career coach. Real companies, Sarah, Maya emphasized, they don't send checks to new hires before they start.
Ever.
They don't hire after one vague, blurry video call. A starting salary that sounds too good to be true for zero experience? That's a giant, flashing warning sign. If it feels rushed, pressured, or secretive, run. Maya helped Sarah completely rebuild her resume, focusing on her actual skills. She taught her how to properly research companies, check their legitimacy, and prepare for real interviews. Months crawled by. The debt was still there, but shrinking. Sarah's diner shifts were long, but she'd study interview techniques on her breaks. Then, finally, a breakthrough. A small, local marketing firm, ClearPath Strategies, posted an entry-level coordinator role. Sarah applied, researched them thoroughly, and aced a real, in-person interview with a panel of 3 people, including the owner, Mr. Peterson, a man with kind eyes and a firm handshake. The pay was modest, honest. The relief when she got the offer call was a physical weight lifting off her shoulders. Starting at ClearPath was surreal. A real office, real colleagues, real work that involved spreadsheets and client calls, not moving mysterious money. Mr. Peterson noticed her diligence. One afternoon, he stopped by her desk. "Sarah," he said, "Maya speaks very highly of your resilience. That's a valuable trait in this business." He didn't know the full story, but his quiet acknowledgement meant the world. She was building something real, Brick by tiny brick, Sarah still carries the debt, chipping away at it steadily. The experience left a deep scar, a permanent caution. But it also forged a fierce, hard-won wisdom in her. We met for coffee recently, and she looked different. Still Sarah, but with a grounded strength I hadn't seen before. "That scam, Emma," she said, stirring her latte. "It cost me money, sleep, and a chunk of my pride. But it taught me more about the real world than 4 years of college ever did. It taught me to question everything that feels off, no matter how shiny the package. To trust that gut feeling screaming, danger, even when your brain is yelling, opportunity. Real opportunity doesn't land screaming, urgent, in your inbox at 3 a.m. It doesn't involve you moving money you don't understand. Real jobs, even the small ones, feel solid. They have handshakes, not just screen names." She learned, brutally, that desperation is a scent scammers hunt for. Her bright optimism isn't gone, but it's tempered now, protected by a layer of healthy skepticism. She double-checks everything. She even volunteers sometimes, talking to groups at the community college about job search safety. The raw bitterness has faded, replaced by a profound resilience. Sarah got scammed, badly. But she didn't let it define her or break her spirit. She used that awful experience to build a stronger, savvier, more compassionate version of herself. And honestly, watching her rebuild, that quiet strength she carries now, that, to me, feels worth more than any lost commission could ever be.